Hello, welcome to my Capstone video presentation. My name is Carrie Newman and I will be graduating from Kennesaw State University in May of 2018 with my master's degree in instructional technology. I've been teaching for 8 total years, 5 of which were in a middle school setting teaching math to general ed, special ed, and ESOL students. These last 3 years, I've been at Mableton Elementary School as an interrelated special education teacher in all grade levels. My capstone project is a basic technology literacy curriculum that I wrote for intermediate grade levels at Mableton Elementary to address keyboarding skills, basic software and hardware troubleshooting, and Microsoft Office Suite tools. Grade level standards were aligned to each lesson to ensure that students were not using these tools in isolation of grade level standards they are expected to master. I chose to address these basic technology deficits that we have continually seen from our students based on personal experience and feedback from the staff. An initial needs survey was sent out to the intermediate grade level staff at the end of the 2016-2017 school year to assess where my efforts would be best put to use for this project. Based on staff feedback of deficits in these areas that they felt were hindering their abilities to successfully integrate technology into their lessons, because students appeared to have never been exposed to these tools or they were unprepared to use these tools in meaningful ways to show their learning. The problems that I chose to address with this project were how to help my fellow staff members effectively integrate technology tools with their intermediate grade students while maintaining high levels of student engagement and filling in gaps of basic technology skills with our students who may not have been exposed at all to these tools or who have had very limited exposure to these productivity tools. While all of our students have been asked to type something on a keyboard before in their academic careers, very few were proficient or able to produce a grade level appropriate amount of work in the time we allotted them. This would cause students to become discouraged and teachers to become frustrated, so I decided to create these lessons to solve this issue. Based on all of that, my project plan objectives were to implement a basic technology literacy curriculum for intermediate students, improve these students' abilities to participate in higher order thinking activities through technology use, and to improve teachers' abilities to use universal design principles to differentiate content, process, and product. These are the deliverables that were created for this project, including lesson plans for teachers, Weebly websites, how-to videos, rubrics, and both student and teacher pre- and post-assessments. Over the summer of 2017, I wrote 8 lessons per grade level for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classes using the principles of universal design in an effort to ensure that all students would be able to participate. Teachers were provided with an overview like this during pre-planning to show the technology topics and grade level standards for the lessons that I had written. These technology topics included saving and retrieving documents, creating lists and tables, formatting, typing, and fonts, keyboarding skills for typing in a paragraph form, basic and advanced PowerPoint presentations to include use of audio, video, transitions, and pictures, and how to use tools to edit writing in a Word document, as well as keyboarding skills, creating and editing and formatting tables in Word and Excel, as well as some newer tools to our students, including Office 365 Forms and Office 365 Sway. Academic standards were chosen based on pacing guides provided by Cobb County in an effort to align these lessons with the standards each grade level should be teaching each month. These lesson plans were very flexible, however, and the teachers were encouraged to use parts of the lesson if they were not able to use all of it. Detailed lesson plans were created for each lesson, which included ISTE standards, CCGPS standards, lesson objectives, necessary materials, a mini lesson to introduce students to these topics, independent work sessions, and ideas for differentiation. Supplementary materials were also linked to these documents as needed, such as rubrics or guided notes for struggling students. In addition to creating these lesson plans for teachers to follow and deliver to their students, I also created websites using Weebly.com for students to easily access any necessary information. This was a very long and painstaking process that required several revisions as we went through each lesson. I had originally embedded each video into the page in an attempt to keep students from having to open multiple tabs or pages. However, we quickly discovered that the students were unable to consistently access these videos at school because YouTube was blocked. Upon discovering this, I searched the web for a solution and found a video sharing website called safeshare.tv that allowed me to upload each video and produce a school-safe link for students to use. These videos included both videos that I found on YouTube as well as videos that I created myself using screen sharing tools to show students how to use these technologies. The homepage included several engaging typing practice games that students were encouraged to use anytime that they had the opportunity to do so. Every lesson was presented in the same format. It began with a web page discussing the technology requirements for the lesson and videos or other information for students to learn or refresh these skills for some of our more tech-savvy students. Then a page for grade level content. This was usually science and social studies, though I did sneak in a math standard or two when I could. The last page was always a task for students to show their knowledge of not only the target technology skill of the lesson, but also their understanding of the academic content. This last page also included an exemplar for students to use if they need it. Each page included clear directions in both written form as well as read aloud through these Voki avatars embedded within each page. Navigation buttons were easy to use at the top and bottom of each page, as well as a home button for students to access the home page. For my evaluation plan, I chose to focus on all 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students at Mableton Elementary. While all classes and teachers were invited to participate, not all classes chose to join in. Those that did choose to use these lessons participated in a pre- and post-test for both the students and the teachers. I also used surveys throughout the process to check teacher feedback and tweak any lessons as necessary. Those classes that did participate saw big growth in both student skills and teacher satisfaction with student performance. From student pre- and post data, we saw some major growth in student skills and student confidence in their skills. Our 3rd grade students were asked simple questions about how they felt they could do with simple tasks, such as typing in home row, aligning and formatting text, saving and retrieving documents, using PowerPoint, Microsoft Sway, and Microsoft Forms. Each category saw significant growth in students' answers of whether or not they were able to use these tools. We saw 62% growth in typing skills, 81% growth in formatting texts, 70% growth in ability to save and retrieve documents, 50% growth in PowerPoint skills, 63% growth in using Sway, and 58% growth in using Forms. This growth was similar amongst 4th and 5th grade participants as well. When analyzing the teacher data, we actually saw that the teachers had more confidence in their students' abilities than the kids actually did. Teachers were asked to rate very similar questions about their students' basic computer abilities, and again, we saw growth from the pre-assessment to post with our teachers' perspective as well, especially with Microsoft Sway and Forms, which began at 0% proficiency from a teacher perspective. 3rd grade teachers reported 65% growth in student typing skills, 75% growth in formatting text, 50% growth in saving and retrieving documents, 48% growth in using PowerPoint, 50% growth in Sway, and 45% growth in Forms. Some things that I learned from this experience is that the digital divide is very evident at Mableton Elementary School. We're a Title I school with 81% of our students receiving free or reduced lunch. With this economic disadvantage, we see that our students are often unexposed or underexposed to technology tools that are frequently seen in more affluent areas. What was promising, though, was the level of student engagement we saw when these lessons were implemented. Students were excited to be going to the lab and learning how to use these technology tools and sharpen the skills that they had already been exposed to. Almost every student was willing and excited to participate, and many took leadership roles in helping their peers when necessary. Because I used principles of universal design for learning when creating these lessons and websites, most students were able to follow along and participate with little peer or adult assistance. Throughout this process, not only were our students trained on these tools and grade level standards, but our teachers were also trained on some of the newer tools to the county that they may have never used before, such as Microsoft Sway or Microsoft Forms. From this experience, I feel that I've grown as a technology facilitator. It wasn't always easy, and at times I did feel the defeat of having less buy-in from my peers than I had anticipated. However, I think that this has only made me stronger, and now I feel more confident moving forward as a technology leader in my school. I get stopped quite often with troubleshooting questions or requests for help writing lesson plans or using new tools. My students are also technology leaders now as well. They're far more confident in their basic technology skills than they were at the beginning of the year, proving that technology exposure really is the key to student success with these tools. Just like anything else, these basic technology skills take time and practice to learn and master. Maybe the key is just finding a way to take that time during our busy school days to allow our students to practice and learn.